Hello, audience. It's Nick Galarza, the Lizard Titan here, and I'm back with another painting video. Last video I painted up a Tal XV25 Stealth Battle Suit from the Tal Empire. Today I'm painting one of my brother's models. This is going to be the Demon Prince of Khorne. Specific that I say Khorne because Khorne's the Demons of Khorne are apparently one of the playable factions in the Warhammer 40k universe, along with Nurgle, Zinj, and Slanesh. God forbid I pronounce those wrong. Yeah, I'll be showing you how I painted this guy. If you wanted to follow along, I'll be talking about what I did. For those of you that are following along, if you're using Citadel paints, I will have some suggestions for the paints that come up, and I'll be putting them in a list down in the description if you want to follow along. Remember, this video shows my process, and I'm just showing you how I went about painting the Demon Prince. So please leave a comment or whatever it is you do, and have fun painting. So let's begin. So first off, I'm going to use Mournfang Brown, or darker but more prominent red, and we have to show that it is red. Khorne's basic colors is red, and for the purposes, I'm following my brother's paint scheme. So we're just gonna wet this guy down with all this Mournfang Brown, and as much as you can, but while leaving some of the black of the model. The model's already black because of the primer I used. I would recommend it for most of the organic models like this guy. Several ones that you know you're going to paint in brighter colors, some that aren't really organic but more machine, maybe in a white primer or gray primer would be best way to go about this. But simply, I'm just going through and lightly painting 1/4 or 1/2 mix of water with this Mournfang, just on the largest areas of the body. What I'm going to do after this is actually going to start dry brushing this guy. If you remember the last video, I only added dry brush for light and shadow effects. I'm going to be hitting the wings as hard as possible because the inner parts of the wings will be tidied up later. So you'll see that soon. But, continuing this Mournfang. So I'm going to clean this up with a little bit of dry brushing here for me, personally. This is all going to be tidied up a little later. I'm using the dry brush just so some of the black stays. It helps show the depth in the character, and for me, showing a bit of black actually shows it a little more organic. All right, next we're going to be using. As we're going to be switching to Khorne Red. It's in the name. There it is. All right, so this is where I go a little more in depth with the paint and apply it to the top of what I've already dried through the Mournfang Brown. I was about to say Mournfang Steel. That is wrong. I'm still dry brushing the model, as I did before with the Brown Fang, Mournfang Brown. Anyways, I'm going to be hitting the muscles on this model where I'd map out all this Khorne Red in the manner of which I'm painting the inside of what I've already laid down with the Mournfang. To put it in perspective, I'm putting on the paint on the more exposed areas of the demon's body. This paint will cover most of the body and will keep it uniform to the Mournfang. Don't be afraid to get any paint on the armor or what have you, because we're going to be going over the armor later in the video, and all the red will be covered up. Unless, of course, you choose the armor to be red. Once the highest range of red has been laid, we're going to go and run into more of the thinner brushes for the upcoming details. But this whole concept of the dry brushing is to make the model feel more organic. At least it feels more organic to me. That's why I've been going about it this way. Just work on this. We'll be going in a bit. I'll be using a thinner brush to get into some of the larger areas of his muscles that I can't get to, and I'll just be tidying those up too, using Khorne Red. But you don't want to cover up all the black that you left behind from the Mournfang Brown, and you don't want to cover up all the Mournfang Brown, so you have to be careful about how you lay this color out. And we'll be doing the same thing for the next color, so we're ready for that. Here we go. And I'm going to take to deal with the shoulders a little more. Yeah. Alright. Now, let's see what we can do here. I'm going to tidy up a little bit in some of the areas, like I said. We're going to have to come back in some of the colors and sat out in this. So I'm going to go ahead and just tap a little more around using a smaller brush head just so I can get a little more of this red. Because, you know, it's Khorne Red. I kind of want it to be more, match its color. It's what the Citadel wanted to use, so we'll be doing that. The bicep, back of the thigh, upper back, lower back. Not trying to get into the creases as much, as that's where I want the black to be. And later we'll be adding some little bit of a darker shade to it, so we'll make it work. And go ahead and spread out some of the paint. You might notice I just put on too much there. I was just spreading it out, taking it out with one of my fan brushes. Right, next, we're going to be using a lighter red. For the new Citadel users, I'd probably recommend the Wazdakka, if I'm saying that right, thank you orcs, or the Mephiston? God dang it, or the Wildrider Red. I'm going to be pinpointing this paint in the center of what would be the Khorne paint that I've already applied. So this is the absolute brightest on the highlights that I want this model to be for lights and all that. So wherever the muscle is at the most possibly exposed is where this light is coming in and where this paint should be applied, or where I'm applying it at least. Haha! So I'm going to apply this to the wings and fingers more than a lot of places on the edges of muscles. The very edge of muscles are the most exposed to, at least visually anyway. Let's see. And actually we're going to get to the wings next. So, okay. It's not bad. Alright, so now for the wings. For you guys, I recommend using a darker red than what we started at the beginning of the painting, or using that same dark red. What was I using? Mournfang Brown? Yeah, so using that and just dry brushing it on there. This isn't going to be the final color. I'm just using it to create transitions. Let's see. So I'm going to do... So put this on. I wanted to make sure there was still some black in the area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Screamer Pink, or this red purple color, anything similar to the Screamer Pink from the Citadel paints. And I'm going to fill in all the open areas. So we're going to, for the centermost inner part of the wings, I'm just dry brushing Screamer Pink into here. And yeah, I'm going to, it'll be a little bit of a tough press. So you don't want as little as, you want as little as possible because you don't want the paint to over mask any of the Mournfang, and you're just going to press into it as hard as possible while filling in the centerpieces. This is a little harder than what it might be, because right now I have my model already built together, so yeah. Alright, next we're going to go to, I'm going to go to the armor. So this is where the style switches up. I'm going to stop dry brushing and start mixing some medium or water to get a smoother approach. I'll use something similar to the Dryad Bark paint, in the Citadel at least. And I'm going to be mixing it with some Leadbelcher. It's like a Leadbelcher, some metallic paint, form of metallic paint. That I'm going to use to go ahead and paint the chest pieces and some of the arm plates and things like that that are around this guy, on top of this guy's head, etc. I'll be using, let's see, yeah, so the Dryad Bark, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and then the mix of Leadbelcher. It'll be a metallic brown color, so, and that's what we'll use for that. I'll probably specifics. It's gonna look as unnatural as normal. It's gonna be non-organic. So simply the paint of the to paint the armor, but it's not important that much to paint. If you get paint on the trim, don't worry about it because we're going to go over it in a bit. So again, but this model is completely up to you on what colors you want to use. This includes the trim, and I'm going to follow my brother's color scheme and use a yellow, orange metallic paint. So I'm going to put some, I don't know how to pronounce these, Auric Armour Gold or Gehennas Gold, I guess, and mix it with, technically I don't have to mix it with anything. It's a metallic base paint from Citadel. I recommend you have Citadel paints to mix with or to use. For me, it's what I desire because it was it was a metal, so I had to go with a metallic one. Having the metallic paint makes metal so much more than just a basic mix of matte and paint. It just suits so much better. In the meantime, I'm going to be filling in the trims of the chest plate, the belt, the armor, the bracers, I guess that's what you call them. Crotch plate here. We're going to head straight to fill in some more of the armor on the other. I'm working on right now the left arm guard, filling in that stuff with the kind of Leadbelcher and Dryad Bark mix. Is going to be, yeah. But let's see what I can do. Let's see. Just tidy this up a little. I'm gonna be going over this again. It's not where I want it to be. It just looks flat right now, and I'll have to deal with that later. I'm gonna head to the axe now. Fun part. And instead of the Dryadic Bark with the Leadbelcher, I'm going to just use the bark color and just apply that to the base of the axe. And that's, I guess, its grip or its handle or its base. Just lightly coat it. And after that, I'm going to go back and hit the sides and such with our. We're going to hit that with our gold mix that we have, our Armor Gold or Gehennas Gold, and help out some of the reinforcements and such on that. Alright, after a few things are done, I'm going to use strictly Leadbelcher. I wanted to use just Leadbelcher here to see how it looks, and I kind of wanted to keep with it. There's some small pieces on the bottom of the axe, and the axe blade itself that this guy has, and then I do the same part for the skull, and I need to let the eye socket stay black. I'm going to quickly go over the horns and the teeth in a white, and then immediately dry brush them to a simple black with that Dryad Bark. I swear I'll never be able to figure out its name. So, just simple white and black, and just push them over each other. Put them over each other, white into black, and then after that, we're gonna go back to our gold. I'm gonna go ahead and hit these smaller details in here, the pipes, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Lore. I mean, lore-wise, if one of you wants to help me out with Demon Kin lore, that'd be yeah, that would at least who are these guys? Khorne? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But we're gonna switch pace and go into the shoulder pad here. My brother had left the shoulder pad off because it would be easier to paint, and it would have also covered up too much of the model. So I repeat for what I did on the armor to this here pad, using the mix of metallic Dryad Bark and then Gehennas Gold, or listen, it's gold. It's whatever the metallic gold you all think is viable for. It's your trim. It's your model. You paint. I'm just here to show you how I did it. What kind of result you get at the end. So, yep. So we're gonna do that a little later. I'm gonna find out that I kind of wanted to use the Leadbelcher in a certain area because it kind of like broke the shoulder pad had so much area and broken up color because it has the outer oh boy, I'll never remember it. The outer rim here that I'm painting right now, and then the inner rim, the inner details, the inner surface area. The biggest surface area of the part is actually going to be I'm going to be using the Leadbelcher for, and then the areas probably going to be left with the metallic Dryad Bark color. So. Finish this up. There we go. Sorry for the adjusting camera and the fast motions, but I didn't want you all to sit through a very long video. See, that's where I felt like I wanted the different color, so that's where I'm starting to apply the Leadbelcher to. Alright, so at this point, the guy's finished. I just have to technically put the shoulder on, but we're not done. I'm not done. I'm going to add some effects to this guy, so I'm going to add some blood onto this axe here. If you want to follow me, right now I'm using a Wildrider Red, I believe. Yes, or Wazdakka Red, whichever. I'm just going to paint the edges and sides of the axe blade, make the illusion that it's hit something. Probably do. I'll be doing a dry brush sort of a setup. Which I'll see in a second, but yep, I'll clean it up and do it on both sides. And I'm going to dab the skull a little with it, and I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning up the armor. Give it a little bit of touch and highlights, and give it more of a shimmering gold effect. Alright, let's see. So we've messed with the armor, and now I decided to go ahead and paint the right brace, excuse me, with the pure Leadbelcher. I was uncertain how I wanted to go about it, so I decided let's take the initiative and just go ahead and knock that out with another metallic paint, make it break it up a little more. All right. So now, now's the fun part. Now is where we take our brush, get some of the, we're going to go nuts here in a second. We're going to use a basic black, any basic Mars black, or I'd recommend the Dryad Bark. It's a good color, maybe a very dark red. And use a large brush and use the dry brush technique and hit every part of this model. I don't want to cover up a lot of the color. I just want to make it look dirty and or a little bit shaded. So there's going to be a lot of shading going on. Pretty much that's all it is. It's just a natural shade that I'm applying. It's a little different than the actual, shade oils, which I will get to in a second. But it's just to add a bit of natural worn form to this, which I did to the stealth suit in the prior video. Just tag some of this. Alright, next I'm going to be applying what you all use as a non-oil, kind of something like that. This is the shade part, where a very liquidy form of paint that just adds that definition to the model. Because there's some pieces that are small, inconspicuous. A lot of it's going to be in his wings, some of it's going to be in his horns, his teeth. We need to bring out any of the color with this black. So what's going to happen is it's such a liquid-based substance. What's going to happen is it's going to flow itself into the cracks of this model. That way it helps bring those smaller details out a little. So for you guys using Citadel stuff, there's a couple of there's like Nuln Oil and other shades like that. Experiment how you want to. Right now I'm not getting much of a color feeling from this character, so I'm just going to use Nuln Oil. But yeah, like if you want some sort of natural color form going on, maybe a blue would be appropriate. A red, a red on a red might be a little difficult to pull off, but hey, I'd be up for it. So I'm using my own little mix of water and my simple Mars Black or Dryadic Black, Dryadic Bark anyway, and just going to town on it. See, and just put those over the pipes, and it's going to turn a little darker for me to see, and it's not just going to be the gold on it. Hit the axe with it, hit his hand, just wipe it over real quick to both sides of the axe. Alright guys, there we are. This is the Demon Prince of Khorne, all finished up. It actually takes a lot longer than what you see in the video. So, don't be stressed out. So, yeah, it's going to take a bit. So, here you go. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you were able to get some little hints and tricks from me. And I hope you got some painting done in the meantime. You were watching this thing. So, yeah, hopefully I'll have something new to paint real soon. I hope to see you all then. So remember, when life gives you lemons, blood for the blood god. This is the Titan, signing off.